If you've had a cursory glance at r/metalcore at some point of the last 15 years, you've likely encountered some variation on this question. Is Australia the best when it comes to metalcore? So what's the deal exactly? What is it about Australia's heavy music scene that makes it so prolific? What do bands like Speed, Northlane, The Amity Affliction, Polaris and Thornhill all have in common? And why does Aussie metalcore, in particular, just kind of hit different? In this video, we're going to be talking about Parkway Drive's debut full-length album, 2005's Killing with a Smile, and how it changed Australian heavy music forever. This is Metalcore Canon. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Parkway Drive initially formed in 2003, and since it's the early 2000s, we're going to let their MySpace profile do the talking. Originating from the small coastal town of Byron Bay, the band, citing influences such as Unearth, Bleeding Through, and Evergreen Terrace, have rapidly accumulated an enviably loyal fanbase Australia-wide, and have been attributed as the main cause of the flourishing Byron Bay hardcore scene. So the band's original lineup consisted of Winston McCall on lead vocals, Luke Pig Kilpatrick on rhythm guitar, Ben Gaz Gordon on drums, Brett Lag Veersteg on bass, and Jeff Ling on lead guitar. The group played their first show on March 21st, 2003 at the Byron Bay Youth Centre. As the band's first DVD documentary details, this is where I Killed the Prom Queen vocalist, Michael Crafter, who was visiting Byron Bay from Adelaide, saw the group for the first time and he was immediately hooked.
This was like the first day I came to Byron, so I didn't really expect this band to be good, and then I heard them and was just like, these are the biggest breakdowns ever, and I was just freaking out. Saw the first show ever, and yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I actually was just like, I've got to get this band on something. I've got to get this band released, or I've got to get them on tour.
This connection then led to their first officially released material, the I Killed the Prom Queen and Parkway Drive split CD, released in June of 2003. After some early tour runs off the back of this split, the band would eventually sign to Sydney hardcore label Resist Records and release their first EP, Don't Close Your Eyes, in early 2004. More shows and touring followed, alongside international support slots for In Flames and Chimera. In June, the group were featured in Kerrang! Magazine's Rising section, which was likely their first inclusion in international press as one of the hot new bands you have to hear. As Rod Yates put it, scratch beneath the surface and you'll find Parkway Drive, a metalcore band as brutal and technically proficient as any to emerge from more typical urban surroundings. Towards the end of 2004, original bassist Brett Veerstag left the band and was replaced by Sean Cash, known simply as Cashy. It's also around this time that mentions of writing new material appear on Parkway's website, and early versions of tracks like Anastasis, Xenophontus, and Guns for Show, Knives for a Pro crop up in set lists.
This next song's a new song. Next song. If anyone knows this, feel free to do a thing.
Fast track to 2005, and it's all business for Parkway Drive. They nab a support slot for the mighty Hatebreed in Sydney, alongside a full national run with Shadows Fall and As I Lay Dying. By April, the group finished writing for their new record and entered pre-production. As the band's MySpace bio details, in May 2005, the band headed to the USA to record their debut album with renowned metal producer and Killswitch Engage guitarist Adam Dukowitz, who was responsible for acclaimed releases from the likes of Unearth, Killswitch Engage, and From Autumn to Ashes at Zing Studio in Massachusetts. This, to put it mildly, was a big fucking deal. For a small band from Australia, let alone Byron Bay, to fly across the world and record with a big-name producer like Adam D was simply unheard of. As Winston recalls in a cover feature for the first issue of Death Before Dishonor magazine, the whole Adam thing came about just from us loving his work. We knew that he worked on all Unearth's albums, we emailed him, and he ended up saying, yeah, so that's pretty much the way it happened. Parkway Drive had nothing to lose and everything to gain from such a whirlwind experience, so they simply jumped right at it.
They were kind of cool. I liked their breakdowns.
And back then too, it was sort of not the done thing for a local band or an Australian band to head overseas to work with a producer of that sort of calibre.
For a band to kind of make that massive step, that massive financial step, go overseas and do it, everyone kind of went, all right, this is obviously serious.
Arriving home in early June of 2005, right before jumping on a national support tour with Bleeding Through, the band posted updates to their website and seemed incredibly excited about the end result. We are really happy with the outcome and believe it's the best we could have achieved. Don't expect singing parts or emo parts. Expect breakdowns, two-step, and blast beats. This is a mosh CD. Released on September 12th, 2005 through Resist Records, Killing with a Smile was unquestionably Parkway Drive's best material to date. One listen to the album opener, Give Me a D, is enough to absolutely demolish everything that came before it. With Adam D's guiding hand across recording and production, the debut full-length contained 11 tracks of pure mosh mayhem, elevating Parkway Drive from their scrappy metalcore origins into visceral and intense headliner material. The album is infused with call-and-response lyrical moments like the now iconic Romance is Dead, the haunting melodies of Pandora, the relentless and bone-crushing breakdowns on tracks like Blackout and fan-favorite Mutiny. Even Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em, originally released on the band's EP, gets repurposed here, with a bonus music video treatment, morphing into something lean, mean, and thoroughly pissed off.
Broken! Broken! Wow, broken futures all that we hold. Rounding force.
With a national tour in the weeks following release, Killing with a Smile will go on to chart at number 39 on the ARIA Australian Albums chart, a feat not even conceived of for a band as heavy and uncompromising as Parkway Drive. And in the decades since, the album has gone on to receive a gold certification for over 35,000 units sold and streamed.
The sound they got out of that record is fantastic. It stands up today. It's a huge, massive sound.
It debuted in the ARIA charts, it stayed in the independent charts for a long time, and a lot of this stuff just wasn't the done thing for heavy bands.
Pretty sure that's when shit just started to get fucking serious.
Okay, but how do I factor into all this? What's my connection to Parkway Drive and Killing with a Smile? Well, in 2005, I was only just preparing to dive headfirst into a musical realm previously unknown to me. Bands like Poison the Well, Bleeding Through, Killswitch Engage were essential to my early metalcore education, and the experience was, in the truest sense of the word, revelatory. The intensity of the riffs and rhythmic grooves, the sheer ferocity of the compositions, the destructive force contained within every concussive breakdown, the lyrical anguish rushing out of every coarse scream and soothing melodic chorus, all of it was new, exciting, and utterly captivating. There was seemingly a whole world of heaviness out there that I had yet to explore, and I needed to know more. Come November 2005, I'm freshly 17, and in the weeks immediately following my high school graduation, I leave a record store with another new album from another new band, gig ticket in hand, ready to attend my first hardcore show, or perhaps more accurately, metalcore show. Fortunately, this gig has an incredibly stacked lineup. Earlier in August, Buffalo Rockers Every Time I Die had released their third studio album, Gutter Phenomenon, and were in the middle of the international leg of their Good Music for Bad People tour in support of the record. Here's a fun little aside. Gimpy upstarts and future Australian success story, The Amity Affliction, were the local opener for this show, playing material from their debut self-titled EP, and it's still one of my favourite Australian releases to this very day. Play Severance. However, it was soon clear to me that the show's main support act was the real drawcard here. This was my first introduction to the world of hardcore in a live setting, and it was unlike anything I had ever seen before. While at times Parkway's set displayed all the signs of descending into a full-blown brawl, somehow they managed to channel the crowd's restless energy, and in many ways, they seemed to thrive off it. As I watched all of this unfold from the back of the venue, my brain desperately tried to process the wild scene in front of me. At first glance, everything appeared chaotic and violent. Piles of sweaty bodies, leaps and dives from the stage directly into the crowd, clenched fists and screaming faces. But there was also a palpable sense of fun and camaraderie in the room. Despite the sheer anarchy of the mosh pit, there was little anger or outrage. If anything, there was a sense of joy contained in the unity of this shared experience. This wasn't carnage, it was catharsis in motion, and I wanted in. And to me, this is why Parkway Drive is so special and unique within the context of Australian heavy music. They opened up an entire world of hardcore and metalcore to hundreds and thousands of young kids just like me who took that idea and ran with it. Shit, I'm still running with it right now. Parkway Drive were my gateway band, and they are likely your favourite band's gateway band. So when it comes to Australian heavy music, Parkway Drive are the band. And that's what makes Killing With a Smile an undeniable metalcore classic.
I want to know your top 4 Australian hardcore records of all time.
Yeah. Parkway Drive, Killing With a Smile.
Yeah.
That's also my favorite record of all time.
Parkway Drive, Killing With a Smile. Okay.
Parkway Drive, Killing With a Smile. That was the entry point to music that you can mosh to for us.
With the immediate success of their debut album now solidified, 2006 was the year for Parkway Drive to follow in the footsteps of Day of Contempt and I Killed the Prom Queen. Time to go big and leave home. After supporting Evergreen Terrace on the inaugural Boys of Summer tour, the band also played the Gold Coast Date of the Big Day Out festival, marking their first tentative steps towards entertaining a more general, non-hardcore audience in the years to come. March and April would then see the group embark on the biggest run to date, the All Ages Assault Tour. This 16-date tour avoided all of the well-trodden capital city stops in favour of lesser-known regional towns, places like Wangaratta, Townsville, and Albury. And this would turn out to be Parkway Drive's secret weapon. By going out of their way to play to smaller crowds in often overlooked towns, the band intentionally won over young, hungry audiences that wanted to experience genuine, aggressive music in a live setting, and the converted quickly became devoted fans overnight.
Parkway were playing like the littlest towns ever and still pull like 1,000 people.
We basically lived life. It was great.
That's the kind of thing that opens up things for not only other bands, but it influences kids in those areas to start bands of their own.
It's fucking awesome.
Winston shook my hand. I see your face again. Until I end this lovely dance. Until I see you fucking scream.
With a string of farewell shows in late April, alongside Her Nightmare, Jungle Fever, and Stronghold, Parkway Drive finally went international and left for the UK and Europe.
In case you guys don't know, we're Parkway Drive from the other side of the fucking world. And we're fucking stoked to be here. Thank you guys so much for having us in your town.
However, in late May, during their first overseas tour, Bass player Sean Cash would leave the group for personal reasons with the full support of the remaining members. As detailed in the first Parkway DVD, the band decided to recruit their merch guy and longtime personal friend, Jaya Pi O'Connor, asking him to learn bass and fill the slot mid-tour, resulting in the core Parkway lineup that's been established for every subsequent release. June of 2006 would mark the announcement of Parkway Drive's signing to American punk rock institution Epitaph Records, another unprecedented move for an Australian band, let alone a metalcore band, with the US release of Killing with a Smile following in August, before another tour of the UK and Europe alongside Shai Hulud and Remembering Never. Without losing momentum, Parkway returned home in October and lapped the country yet again, this time as part of the 2006 edition of the Taste of Chaos tour, supporting post-hardcore staples like Taking Back Sunday, Thursday, Under Oath, Census Fail, and Seosin. Damn, military cap mosh meets emo bangers? What a time to be alive. It's hard to think of artists that have left more of a seismic impact on the Australian heavy music landscape than Parkway Drive. On subsequent records like 2007's Horizons and 2010's ARIA Award-winning Deep Blue, the quintet innovated on their aggressive origins, refining and tempering their sound while also expanding the scope of what metalcore could be in the 2010s and beyond. But let's return to that curious Reddit question once again. Is Australia the best when it comes to metalcore? Now, look, it's hard to say that we're definitively the best, as that's really a matter of opinion, art is subjective, etc., etc. But, I mean, come on. We gotta be pretty fucking close, right? Don't take my word for it, though. Here's Winston himself telling Triple J broadcaster Jack Bergen.
Like, Australia has a gold star seal of approval that has not wavered. Like, real? Things come and go. Like, trends come and go. Opinions come and go. Australia's quality for metal has just been like, nah, it's sick. That's it. It's always the top tier, and everyone's just like, yep, that's what it does. That's what they do. So we punch high in the weight category.
You punch high and the punches land.
Yeah.
Like, it is just, yeah.
And he's absolutely right. Killing with a Smile, 20 years on from its initial release, still punches, and it most definitely lands. Not only are the Byron Bay Behemoths now one of our country's most celebrated musical exports, the 3-time ARIA Award winners continue to define exactly what heavy means in an Australian context. Most importantly, Killing with a Smile is where the earliest glimpses of Parkway Drive's true potential comes into focus, offering hints at future stadium anthems and cementing the band's status as international festival headliners with real mainstream crossover appeal. What Rolling Stone Australia would eventually declare in 2025 the AC/DC of their generation. The quintet now frequently sell out sports stadiums for their national tour runs and were the chosen headliner for Germany's Wacken Open Air Festival in 2019, a career highlight performance to a 75,000-strong crowd, which in turn led to the release of Parkway's third documentary film, Viva the Underdogs, in 2020. The film received a small theatrical run in Australia and is currently available for domestic streaming through Netflix. In 2022, the band collaborated with Fox League as part of the National Rugby League, or NRL code's seasonal sports campaign, uniting perhaps two of Australia's greatest passions, sport and live music. They've helped shape and guide the careers of groups that directly cite their influence, including fellow ARIA Award alumni like North Lane, Speed, The Amity Affliction, Polaris, Thornhill, and more. With Parkway Drive's towering discography, Killing with a Smile is the album that started it all and changed Australian heavy music forever. Thanks for watching this video to the end. I really do appreciate it. What's your favorite song off Killing with a Smile? Do you have a different favorite Parkway Drive album? If so, let me know. What's another band or album that we should include in this Metalcore Canon series? Let me know what you think. Pop it down in the comments. Let's go. Also, make sure you subscribe to our Patreon if you want to support the show and support what we do here, making videos like this one. Links for the Patreon down in the description. I would also like to shout out our executive producer tier patrons. That's Carrie, Chris, Hannah, Jake, Marty, and Sam. Thank you again. You guys are the real ones. Thank you for keeping the lights on at TPD HQ. All right, that's it for now. See you next time. Peace.